Hi guys, it's Pedro, and in today's video I would like to dive into what I think is the most important personal or professional asset that you can ever have in your life. And this idea came from something that I saw a few days ago, exactly around this topic. And a lot of people have different opinions about like what is the most important asset that you can ever have, right? And some people say it's money, some other people say it's time, but I think the most important thing that you can ever have, which is something that I saw and I agree with, is building momentum. And I'll tell you exactly why that's the case, in my opinion, in this video. And I will unpack everything that that means. But before going there, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Pedro and I'm the founder of Gameplanner. And what we do as a company is helping experienced professionals with the compositing background to attain and sustain leadership roles in their VFX careers. And we've been doing that very successfully over the years. Just look in the description below to see some of the testimonials and results. And if you'd like to have help achieving the same, whether you're already within leadership roles or you would like to get there, and if you have a compositing background, of course, then click on the first video on the description, watch a free training exactly around this topic, and at the end of it you can apply for a free strategy call with my team to see whether or not we can help you with the things that you'd like to solve in your life. Now, going back to the things that I was saying about the most important thing, in my opinion, that you can ever have on your personal or professional life, as I said, is building momentum. But why that's the case? Well, very simply because when you gain professional momentum, your professional life, okay, gains a life of its own. Okay, it's something that rolls by itself, develops by itself, but it's very hard to get there, and that's why it's so valuable. You know what I mean? So opportunities will come to you, people will naturally be drawn to you. You're hot, basically. What normally we say, you're hot, right? And everybody wants a piece of you. And that kind of moment when you are able to achieve that, that's more important than money on its own, because it's that momentum that will bring you more opportunities, which then money is a part of, is a consequence of, right? And in my opinion, it's also more important than time, because when you build that momentum, you will work less for higher returns. And basically, you will have naturally more time to then apply on other areas of your life. So both time and money, they become sort of like a consequence of that momentum building that you are able to achieve. Because again, it sort of like gains a life of its own. It's like you roll like a boulder down the hill. You don't need to push it. It will roll on itself. You know what I mean? So that's the type of stuff that I'm talking about, which is very difficult to get there. But once you get there, it's also difficult to gain the awareness that's actually what's going on and what to do with it, basically, right? But it's difficult to get there in the first place, and that's why it's so valuable, in my opinion, right? Now, what is the problem of not getting to this momentum that I'm talking about? Well, if you don't get to that momentum, and there's ways to get there, you basically will stay the same. You will be about, life will be about the same as it's ever been. You will not grow. You will not, nothing will happen differently in your life. Can be, your life can be in a good way. I'm talking about professional life, but also personal life, perhaps. That side of your lives will have like some sort of like inertia or stagnation, for lack of better words, to pursue better, right? And to, gain a life of its own, as I said before, right? So when you are not able to get there, then you'll have difficulty also on gaining traction of making progression towards your goals. You don't know what sticks. You're always in constant like effort on getting to where you want to be, assuming that you know where you want to be, and it's too much effort. It's too much stuff that you do all the time. You try this, you try that. It's like pushing this boulder that gets bigger and bigger and heavier up the hill. You know what I mean? So that's why it's difficult. This is like how you're gonna build that stuff until you get there, and then you just need to push the boulder down the hill and it will go by itself, right? It's difficult to get there, but there's ways to get there with less effort. That's what I'm saying. But in any case, when you are on this quest, if you don't know whether or not you are on the right track to get there, you're going to be inconsistent, or your efforts will be sporadic and probably going to hit and miss like a lot of times. And it's going to be also like exhausting, perhaps, because, it's a big boulder, just to give you the same analogy. What does that mean as a consequence? Well, it will limit like the potential advancements in your career, right? And take into account like, or assuming that you have like a specific goal. If you don't know what to get there, it's going to be heavier and heavier, and that momentum will not come, right? And you will perhaps become frustrated, demotivated from lack of these visible results and this visible progress. And then you see other people that perhaps are doing less than what you're doing, and it seems like their life or their lives are going so much better than yours, right? Because that's the valuable thing. They gain momentum. They somehow did something that built that momentum that we're talking about here, and then they seem like everything is effortless for them. And then you think, look at me doing all these things. And then you may think that, but this person is not doing anything. And it seems like everything is happening to him or to her. But the reality is perhaps there's more than just, them just going about life, waking up and everything falls on their lap, right? There must have been something that they did well that allows them to now, you perceive them doing less, and perhaps they're actually doing less because they've built that momentum and things naturally happen to them, right? So when you're not able to do that and you look at these people, especially, you're gonna feel like, there's no point. You're gonna reduce your capacity of competing in a dynamic and fast-paced way to get to where these people are, because it seems like you're doing too much and they're doing too little, and they're winning and you're losing. So it's a hard one, this one. And also what this means is that probably going to miss opportunities, because you don't have the momentum. You're trying everything, but you are perhaps in the wrong circle of people. You are in the wrong circle of opportunities. You are perhaps working in the wrong places. You are perhaps dealing with the wrong set of people that would help you build that momentum. How? Through collaboration most of the times, okay? And this is the type of stuff that I would like to call your attention to, because collaboration amongst like-minded people, that's what most likely is setting you apart. If you are looking at yourself and this other person as like two distinct realities, and you're doing a lot and this other person seems like he's doing not so much, it's because this other person most likely had the right mentorship or is involved with the right people that allows him or her to do less but more effectively to get to where he or she wants to be, and life seems to go on a very easy way, as opposed to someone that is just trying a little bit of everything and nothing seems to stick. You know what I mean? There's definitely more than what you're just looking at, perhaps, and collaboration is key regarding that kind of stuff. So, it's not a nice feeling. So for you to escape this kind of stuff, my suggestion would be, and suggestion because that's exactly the type of stuff that we help people with, is to first of all change this mindset of scarcity. And mindset of scarcity is like being afraid of everything. You trying little things here and there. You spending, if we're talking about investment, you invest like the minimum amount possible because you're scared that something bad will happen or whatever. And it's just like you're always in your sort of like comfort zone. You never get out truly of your comfort zone. You don't take risks. And this is where most people are most of the times. And after speaking with so many people and dealing and hiring and managing so many people, this is where most people are from personal experience. And you probably have that experience as well, dealing with other people that or maybe looking, if you take a close look at the things that you've been doing, that's maybe where you are as well, perhaps, right? I don't know, but perhaps. But the reality is, if you look at any professional or any person that you look up to that to be successful, you will see that every single one of them, most likely what they did in the great majority of the cases, to avoid saying like 100%, because there's always exceptions that prove the rule, right? But you'll see that the great majority of them, what they did, what they have in common to all of them, is exactly what I just said. They took risks. Some of them paid off, some of them didn't pay off at a certain time, but in the conjunction, all those risks inform them about and paint the picture about like the path of what works, what doesn't work, what are the right risks to take, what are the wrong risks to take, etc. Right? And I personally haven't met or read of a single successful story or person that didn't take risks. Quite the opposite. All of them took big risks, and most likely all of them are successful exactly because of this reason. I'm not saying that all risks will pay off, but the reality is when you look and you take a sample of a high level, all those risks, they basically build that momentum that now these successful people are enjoying, you know? So you need to set clear and achievable short-term and long-term goals for you to then be willing to take the risks to get there. If you don't have a goal, as we said here many times, you don't know what to do. You don't know whether or not you should do this or should do that, and you just go about life like every day. Today is this, tomorrow is that, etc. Right? So, it's also important to, have the perception that you're going somewhere, right? So sometimes what happens also is that people take all these big endeavors, all these big goals, all these like moonshots, which they are important, but they become unattainable sometimes, because they're just too big. So the trick here is to break them down into smaller things that are more manageable, in smaller things that you can definitely set a date for and set a plan for, and then bit by bit you're going to do this, you're going to risk that, and yourself, you are now the one painting the picture of that path and learning what works, what doesn't work, what are the people that you should be involved in, what are the people that you should not be involved in, what are the things that you should put your effort and energy in, and what are the things that is not worth putting your energy in, but you need to take those risks, otherwise you will never gain that momentum because you will just stay put in whatever moment you are on a given moment, right? Another important thing, I would say, a very important thing, is to establish routines and habits that will support this constant progress that I'm talking about. And most importantly, track these results. You need to track the results in order for you to evaluate whether or not this is the way to go or this is actually not the way to go, And I'm pretty sure that all of you that are watching this video, if you are from this background that I'm talking about, and if you are experienced, very experienced people, you'll know that a lot of times what you don't do perhaps is tracking the results. You do a little bit of this, you do a little bit of that, today is this, today, there's no probably like clear goal. You're doing a little bit of your job every day without like a clear goal in mind and without a clear set of things that you need to do perhaps every day, bit by bit, to get to where you want to be. Most of the people don't even have a clear goal. So how can they build like the road to get there? It's impossible, right? So as usual, one of the most effective things regarding this type of stuff is really surround yourself with a supportive network of people that you can collaborate with and that you can grow with as well. Like mentors, like-minded peers like that, you know what I mean? And celebrate the small things, which is something that a lot of people don't do. What they do is they set these massive goals. They don't break it into smaller chunks that are more manageable. And then what happens is they don't celebrate these small chunks because the only chunk that they have is like this massive one, and it's very difficult to achieve from nothing to this massive one. If you have like this moonshot only, it's very difficult to celebrate because if you don't have like building blocks that you can face as like milestones, then it's very difficult to celebrate and to see that you are actually building any momentum, you know what I mean? Because also what happens with building momentum, it all starts also in your mind. It's like the awareness of this is actually happening this way, which then transforms the way that you go and set yourself to achieve the other things that you want to achieve. But if you're always on a mentality of I'm not achieving anything because I don't see any progress, well, then it's very difficult, you know what I mean, to gain this momentum because, the way that you wake up every day will dictate what is the energy that you're going to put on the positive side to the things that you want set yourself out to do and to achieve. If you feel that you're not achieving anything day in, day out, then it's very difficult. I would say it's impossible, you know what I mean? So you need to prioritize the tasks and activities that align with your goals that can really contribute to building this momentum. But you need to break them down into smaller chunks so you can see the progress to get there, So hopefully you now understand why building momentum is so important. And again, as a conclusion, it's important because mainly it's very difficult to get there. That's one. Second, once you get there, you will do less because the momentum has been built. It's like a machine that goes and have a life of its own, the fuel of its own, the motion of its own. It's difficult to get there, but once you get there, it's also important to gain the awareness that this is actually happening, okay? And because it's difficult, that's why it's so valuable. More important than money or time, because they become a consequence of that momentum building. So this is the type of stuff that I would like to discuss with you today. And if you need help building this momentum for your compositing career to attain and sustain to leadership roles, it's possible to get there, and you've been very successful of achieving a lot of people, hundreds of people to get there. Just click the link below, watch that video in which I'm gonna lay out like the road to get there, and at the end of that training video, you can apply for a strategy call, and then we'll take it from there, and we'll tell you whether or not we can help you. So if you need help with this, just click, and by doing so, you are only increasing your chances of getting value and getting the success that you've been working so hard for. So no harm doing that whatsoever, but I'll leave that up to you, of course. So I hope you liked it today, guys, and I'll see you very soon. Okay, bye-bye.